One candle represents heaven, and the other candle represents the earth. One candle represents the revelation of God, the prophetic insight of God, and the other candle also represents the physical earth that in obedience obeys the prophetic revelation that comes from heaven. So we are heaven and the earth. We are the revelation of God, the prophetic revelation of God, and the earthly obedience touch. That connection is called Shabbat. In Leviticus chapter 23, verse 3 declares unto us, 6 days shall your work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest, unholy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. The Shabbat of the Lord in all your dwellings. Notice the word dwelling. That God gave man the Shabbat so that man may act in obedience and create a home for God and create a dwelling in the earth for the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob through the Shabbat. There is a principle of welcoming the Sabbath. Every 18 minutes before the sun goes down on Friday, the women in the house welcome the Shabbat by lighting the 2 candles. These 2 candles represents husband and wife. The Sabbath always starts 18 minutes before sundown, or 18 minutes before the sun goes down on Friday evening, and it finishes on Saturday night. Why is it that it's the women that symbolically lights the candle to welcome the Sabbath in a Jewish home? It is because God says, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy, because in it God rested. In it. The Shabbat comes from a heavenly dimension, and it comes in a earth which is likened unto mother, which is likened unto Mother Nature, the one that nurtures, the one that mothers, the one that bara, or the one that molds. So in it he rested. In it the Shabbat came as a seed, as an offering, as a male gender. And in the female, in it, the Shabbat rested, to be transformed into something that we physically do, into something that we obediently carry out, into a commandment that we physically fulfill with our attributes and energies of making. As you understand that the 2 candles represents, the first candle represents God, and the second candle also represents man. One candle represents the Old Testament, and the other candle represents the New Testament. These 2 candles also represents the 2 pillars that were on the front of the temple that King Solomon built. There were 2 pillars on the temple of King Solomon. One pillar was called Boaz, and the other pillar was called Jachin, which means that the one pillar was called Boaz, and the other pillar also represents Ruth. One pillar represents the Jewish nation, and the other pillar, or simply saying, one candle represents the Jewish nation, and the other candle represents the Gentiles, or the nations that came to know the Messiah through the word that was preached via the prophetic word of God that came from Israel.